Alright guys, let's start opening up each and every pack now, and let's see how we can start assembling this heli. I've got this one which says Hiller hover frame, so let me start opening this box as we speak. Just give me a minute. Okay, I pulled out the frame here with me. Not bad. The frame looks extremely good, extremely tough. Almost looks like a carbon fiber frame, but this is fiberglass as far as I know. And the frame seems to be completely assembled here. I can see the tail drive assembly is already fixed here. All the screws are fixed. And I can also see the main shaft rest bearings here have already been fixed. Yes, the motor mount has not been fixed yet. Of course, the landing gears, etc. has not been fixed. But let's do one thing first is, let's check out if, as soon as you get this kit, what you need to do is check if these screws are all tightened or are there any loose, etc. So for this, what you need to do is take a 1.5 mm hex driver and start checking it if it is loose. For me, it seems to be quite tight. If it is loose, wherever there is a metal to metal contact, let me place this here. As you can see, wherever there is a metal to metal contact, please put across a very minute drop of thread retainer or Loctite, commonly known as, and again, don't over tighten it. Just let it go as much as you can with your feel and see if it is tightened, and let the Loctite do its job. Let the Loctite work on this and see to it that both these metal parts are fixed. And wherever there is plastic parts, if you really want to glue it permanently, what you can do is take a drop of epoxy, maybe araldite or any other kind of a 5-minute epoxy, mix it up and just put a very small, very small drop. Again, I don't recommend this, but if you really want this to be literally permanent, so put a small drop here on one of these corners here and go ahead and just tighten this inside tightly. But the problem is, if there's any issue, you will have a mess of a problem in your hand removing this. So any case, I don't recommend it, but if somebody wants to do it, they still can go ahead and do it. And let us see, everything seems to be here. We have got the tail boom support holders in place. We have got the tail drive unit. We've got the main main shaft bearing rest. And this seems to be on packet number 1. So let me pick up the packet number 2 and come back to you within a minute. Okay, I have the second pack now, which I've just opened it. This is the packet number 2, which says Hiller hover head. I have the entire head assembly here in front of me. Seems to be each and every part fixed here. Even the head stopper here is already fixed. The flybar seesaw assembly is also in place. I can see the washout base is also in place. The swash is also there. And you have even the stopper, which is fixed to the main shaft. So everything seems to be in place. And again, as I stated earlier, we just need to check each and every part if this is Loctite or if it is fixed. Usually the factory level, they don't try to Loctite, but I would prefer for any metal to metal contact if you have, please remove and Loctite it. And most of them have got this Phillips screws, so you will require a star type screwdriver or a Phillips screwdriver. So you can just go ahead and check if they have been tight. And again, please, for God's sake, do not over tighten them, because this is made of plastic. And let me again take one step back and tell you guys that this heli is good for beginners. It is good for hovering, it's good for nosing, it's good for any sport oriented mode. It's good even for inverted flight, but this is not made for any kind of a hard 3D. Of course, you know, you can go ahead and learn as much as possible. You can crash as much as possible because even the parts are cheap, they are available. So this again is good for a beginner. So there will be some kind of slack across in this heli. Don't expect it to be a completely 100% precision machine like any other high-end machines like the Goblin or the Furion, etc., the MSH Protos, etc. So this is a good beginner heli to start with, cheap heli to start with. And wherever there is any kind of screws, just try to see if they have been over tightened or they have been less tightened, but just go ahead and tighten them, and all of them should be moving smoothly like this. And of course, this entire head assembly, there also is a manual which is there online at RcBazaar.com. So I've taken up a few pages here. Now you can see I've got on page number 3 here. The entire assembly is given here. So even if you have broken the head, you can actually open this up and check it for the parts. You've got the dampeners here, you've got the spacer here, and you've got the nylock nut here. So it's quite easy, and of course the thrust bearings here, and also the way the thrust bearing goes, which is the smaller diameter, the larger diameter, etc., and how to apply grease inside has been very clearly stated in this manual. So go ahead and go through the manual first, and then you can start even going to the next stage of assembly. So everything seems to be in place here. So let me just pick up the frame. So what we need to do later is start inserting these, and these are the step 2, step 3. I'll come back to you later, step by step. And let's go and open the package number 3 now. All right. So this is the package number 3, Hilla main gear unit. I can see the main gear. I can see the anti-rotation bracket, or the smaller gear, which I can see the one-way bearing is also inside here, and I can see a very small spacer here. Guys, be very careful with this, don't lose this, because this has to come here. But let's go ahead and open this in any way. Okay, let me get rid of this. So here you have it, and of course this spacer, and I can see even the screw is already installed by the factory. Yeah, I'm sure you can see it here. If I can get it a little bit closer here, if possible. Yeah, here you can see the screw is also installed here. So of course you need to remove it so that it goes to the main shaft. And this way it will not turn because it will lock, and this is the way it will turn. So it's got a one-way bearing already installed, and as I stated earlier, be extremely careful with this. Do not lose this or you'll be in trouble later. So this has to go on the top, and then the main shaft will go through this. So this is package number 3, and let's pick up the package number 4 right now. And this, I reckon, is the entire tail assembly. Let me just pry open this right now. Okay, here you have got the belt, you've got the tail assembly. Yes, I believe that the tail pitch slider is actually improved compared to the earlier one. This actually is made from Tarot. These guys are actually good manufacturers. In fact, they are much better than Align. So the Tarot guys have made the tail pitch slider for Hilla Hover, and it seems to be pretty good and pretty smooth. I can see here. Okay, this one of the screws came out. This will actually lock the tail boom in place. So let me just keep this safely and securely here. Just give me a minute if you don't mind, so I don't lose this later. Okay, so everything seems to be assembled pretty neat. And of course, please always, again, as I stated earlier, look at any kind of loose or any over tightening here. I can see there is some gap here. If you can see here, there is some little bit of gap here, which I will go ahead and tighten it using a screwdriver, a Phillips screwdriver. Yeah, these details we will come to later. As far as this is loose and not to over tighten, or it's not binding, it seems to be fine. So this is package number 3. No, sorry, my mistake. This is package number 4. Okay. So we are back again. Now, before I proceed with opening up other packs, I thought I will take you through fixing of these servos on the frame, because once we fix the motors, once we fix the head, it becomes very tough for anybody to put the fingers in and fix the servos. So I thought this would be the ideal point to stop the opening of the packages and start installing the servos. So for that, I already had some 3 servos with me, which is the Avionic 9-gram servo. This is a metal gear servo. You don't have to use a metal gear. You can actually use a plastic servo, which is the Avionic AV9A if you have it, or any 9 grams servos will do. And importantly is these servos which I had with me, I had already made holes on the second. Let me just move here so that you can have a better view. So if you can see that I have enlarged the hole on the second hole from the furthest hole end on the arm. So this is the right position where you can fix the ball, and the ball link can come from here. So if you get a pack of servos, you usually get this. So what you can do is you can take a small screwdriver like this, or even a small drill which is 1.5 mm, 2 mm, whatever you have, and proceed with enlarging the second part of the hole like this. So it's as simple as this. Just turn little bit of few turns and this will slightly get enlarged. Do this for a couple of times, and then take the ball link and fix it, which I will come back to in a few moments. And also, if you look at your manual, if I'm right, on page number 6, let me pick it up. This is page number 6. It has shown you the direction where the servos, how they go in. Now, let us go ahead and start checking out how we can fix the servos here. Now, if you see in the manual, the servo output shaft is facing towards the nose of the frame. This is the nose of the frame. You can see that the shaft is facing here, which means to say it should be facing in this direction, not in this direction. All right, so it should be facing in this direction. So it's as simple as that. Let me keep the manual in the background. So let us proceed and just push this in. So this is how the servo will get fixed. Okay, I've got a screw here, which let me just remove the screw. So here we go. I have removed under the screw that was there earlier. I just removed it. So this is how the direction of the servo shaft will be. That means to say the servo output shaft, or the motor, where the motor sits in here for the servo motor, it will be pointing towards the nose side. So this is how you will fix the servo, and you can see that there are 2 holes here. You need to fix a screw, and I'm sure with each and every pack of servo you get screws like these, which are actually self-washered. So you just have to fix it, and you have to place this here. But if you see that there is nothing here at the back side to hold the screw, so what we can do is 2 things. One is get a screw, a machine screw, which is 1.5 mm, and fix here, or we can go ahead and use the same self-tapping servo and create your own nut here. Usually, again, let me come back again, in every packet of servos, like this is the packet of servos you get these 2-3 servo arms. One is round, one is a kind of a plus or a X type, and one is this type. This you have already used it on the servo, so we cannot do anything on this. So what I would prefer is you take one of these, which is there as an extra with you, and go ahead and leave one hole here and just cut it. So let me, and I'll tell you the reason why we are doing this. I'm going to cut one of these. You can see here, I hope you can see, and I'm going to cut this. So this becomes a small kind of a nut where when we are actually going ahead and screwing this up here, I'm going to fix it at the back. And let me see if I can do this right away in front of you, as it will take a little bit of alignment to get this thing done, but I'm sure we can get it done quickly. Just wasting some video time here. So what you need to do is just align this properly here and take a screw and just fix it. Yeah, it seems to be holding. I can feel it now. See, you can see. Let me just get in closer here. You can see this part here. It's slowly coming out. So this entire thing becomes like a kind of a washer, if not a washer, kind of a nut to it. So you can go ahead and take these and cut 4 parts, or actually you can use this part, whichever you want to, and go ahead and fix it and tighten this. So I will go ahead now from my side. I will fix all the servos and I'll come back to you with the finalization of how the servos fix, etc. Alright guys, I have gone ahead and fixed the servos here, and as you can see, the servos have been fixed properly, and importantly is the way that the arms are pointing out, that the output shaft of the servo motor is towards the nose. Even here it is towards the nose, and also on this side, which is the elevator servo, this one, that is also towards the nose, and the arm is pointing away from the nose. Arm is pointing away, arm is pointing away. So this is the way that you should go ahead and fix. But to fix this, I had a little bit of a problem fixing these what I call the nylon nuts. I had to remove this, but I had to remove it very carefully. But if you are able to fix this without removing it, it's fantastic. If not, remove it very carefully. Again and again, I come back to you and repeat this again. These are made of plastic. Do not over tighten these. Do not over tighten these screws. Otherwise, you will have a problem in your hand. And if not, if you want something semi-permanent, as I stated earlier, fix a dab of glue on the screws and go ahead and tighten it, so that you don't have to worry about any slop in the future. So these are all fixed. So this is how these servos will be fixed. And let us go to the next part of fixing the motor mount here.